Hello and welcome everyone, this is Nostalgic with a special episode, a discussion video we're going to be doing with RareWarington. We got a new series, a spin-off of Kooky Questions we're going to be starting here with some news about Davide Soliani we wanted to discuss, and I'm going to hand it over to RareWarington to kind of explain where we're going to be taking things with this series.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this, Drew. And so like Drew said, it's sort of like a special edition episode of Kooky Questions. So welcome to the first episode of Kooky Quest, where we task ourselves with a quest in discussing points around various gaming topics. For today's quest, we're actually going to be talking about, as Drew just said, key points and reviewing around Mario and Rabbids series, specifically its more recent sequel, as well as and especially the departure of its lead creator, Davide Soliani, as well as the formation of his new studio that's just come in recent weeks. So it should be fun.
Oh yeah, this should be a great time here. And to start things up, as you're saying, Davide Soliani has definitely made a name for himself with a lot of Nintendo fans, but I think he has struck a chord with, especially with a lot of like old Nintendo, Rare fans, because that was in fact the generation that he grew up with, and that was the type of games that he was inspired by, which led to the Mario and Rabbids series with Ubisoft there.
Oh, absolutely. And that's super well said. I mean, it can also be a testament to like why Mr. Kirkhope himself is involved with Davide, like the appreciation of that old Nintendo and specifically Rareware's work. So definitely excited for new things to come from the man, and it's just looking good right now.
And to talk about a little bit of my experience, of course, so the Mario and the Rabbids series, I did play through all of the first game. I thought it was just such an interesting little fusion of like kind of the gaming ideas that I grew up with, both from just the Rare feeling charm of the characters of the Rabbids, the way they were animated, the way that they characters all interacted with each other, the turn-based battles that seemed in some ways like harken back to the old Mario RPG like formula that at that time at least was like really missing for a lot of people, that just a good old-fashioned turn-based kind of gameplay. But here, of course, we had the XCOM style with the real-time strategy, and I thought they just did fun and creative things with that. And I played some, of course, the Donkey Kong Adventure, and I played a good chunk of Sparks of Hope. I haven't played a little bit of that in just a little bit of time here, but yeah, I've gotten probably close to at least 75% of the way through it. Do want to play the Rayman DLC with that for sure, and I think it's a fantastic series that just has a good direction. And what were some of your thoughts on that, Sam?
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that sentiment. And I mean, I kind of similarly to you, I played the first one. I mean, the reveal, for lack of a better term, the reveal of Davide Soliani at E3, having him just come up in all these wholesome memes of just his absolute like undying passion and his emotional just passion for both like the Nintendo IP Mario and the project itself. It was so cool to see that, man, when Miyamoto was presenting it with the head of Ubisoft, and to see them kind of like single him out and Grant kind of force him up to stand up in front of everybody. And it was just, his display of passion was just like super clear and super evident. And man, like the first game is one of my absolute favorites. And as you said, it kind of filled the void of like, honestly, kind of like a more plot-heavy Mario-related game, like you said, kind of like the Mario and Luigi and Mario RPG titles. But yeah, the second game I have played all the way through, and I gotta say, like the first game I consider one of the best Switch games for sure. But Sparks of Hope, no offense to the first, but it blows it out of the water. Like it's incredible. They built off in such a natural path of like how the combat system worked and made it just more smooth, and they kept kind of polishing things in the game. A lot more to explore in Sparks of Hope, a lot more engaging NPCs and characters that kind of I did not expect myself to kind of start falling in love with like original Rabbids characters. So yeah, man, as you said prior, the Rayman DLC was a huge big deal. I actually bought Sparks of Hope after that announcement of the Rayman DLC, and I was able to get the bundle prior to owning the game. And the Rayman DLC is incredible as well. And man, yeah, just a great project, great developers with great passion. Yeah, it's just a really cool series, and definitely more in your line of appreciation. Brings in Yoko Shimomura into this sequel, Sparks of Hope, which for a lot of Mario RPG, Mario and Luigi fans, like, it's a huge big deal. And I gotta say, accompanied with Grant Kirkhope and Gareth Coker. Gareth Coker of some Minecraft updates, famous for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, great composer, and recently worked on Halo Infinite as well. Incredible stuff. Just 3 powerhouse composers that made an incredible game just that much more incredible.
They really did, and just for the music that I've heard from Sparks of Hope, like a pretty good chunk of it. Yearning to Bloom is probably my favorite in the game. It's just it is easily Yoko Shimomura's like style at her best, like a little bit of Mario and Luigi type of sound with the battle themes, a little bit of Kingdom Hearts sound to it, all coming together beautifully there. Grant Kirkhope's done some fantastic stuff, like the Bedrock theme, when it's kind of more like he kind of intended it as a theme for Bowser himself, and it has that cool little. He mentioned it as being a cross between Conan the Barbarian and Rocky, just kind of combining both those styles. He replied to that and mentioned that. Man, it is so good, and just like you said, kind of improvements in gameplay were just a huge thing, just with the overall making the really square limitations of an RTS or like that XCOM style, and just completely eliminated it, because it's free roaming. You can like go back and forth. You can if you move your character one way, you're not committed to that movement. You can kind of adjust it again if you need to, and it's so much more free flowing. And they really just done an excellent work just with the combat system of the game. So yes, huge improvement. I think Davide, is that how you say it?
Thanks to Mr. Kirkhope, I always thought it was pronounced Davide.
Davide.
Sort of an Italian.
Davide. Okay, that makes sense. But yeah, Davide is just like, he obviously has that pure passion for gaming. And of course, a few months ago, we got the news that he was going to be leaving Ubisoft. I think it was Ubisoft Milan, was it? Yes, Ubisoft Milan. He was a creative director there. Excellent work, of course, for Ubisoft. Really, as you say, one of the good ones. Otherwise, tumultuous company these last few years. But yeah, he said he wanted to leave and do his future endeavors. And a few days ago, we got that announcement that what that future endeavor is going to be. We got this Twitter post here, and it just says, "Here we go. Tons of dreams, hopes, excitement, and anxiety. And a simple link. I hope to see you all in the future, and thanks a lot for all the support you gave me in all those years." We're going to go ahead and take a look here at Day for Night Studio. First of all, let's just talk about this logo here. I gotta reduce. Hold on, I gotta do something quick with the window here because it's cutting out a bit.
Oh, no worries. It actually it's reminiscent of almost like Sly Cooper mixed with like Raz from Psychonauts.
Yes, it does. It very much has that kind of feel, and also I can't help but think of a little bit of a Bumper the Badger from Diddy Kong Racing, and it's like a modern take on that character, even with like the goggles and all that. So it kind of has a little bit of that. Day for Night is an independent game development studio focused on delivering deeply heartfelt and original games that innovate in storytelling and design. Just that description alone, and knowing what Davide has been able to do with the Mario and Rabbids, that alone just makes me excited.
Yeah, and it's so like we discussed a little bit earlier. It's so in line with like the passion-oriented, just project creation. Like, just don't bother with something that isn't fun, and don't bother with something you don't have passion for. You're creating this for people to enjoy, but also for you to enjoy creating. And it's just the passion in that man. And luckily, hearing most of the team that's actually from Mario and Rabbids sounds like moved over with it. And it's incredible.
Really is. They seem to have assembled quite a team. I'm going over like the press release announcement here. Red Dead Redemption lead designer and writer Christian Cantamesa and Mario and Rabbids creative director Davide Soliani launched video game company Day for Night Studios with funding from Crafted and One Up Ventures. The duo will co-direct a new IP and are joined by a team of award-winning multidisciplinary industry veterans who have been working together for over 15 years. And again, like you mentioned, just barely playing Red Dead Redemption 2. And we have that designer on that, joining with Davide, people from Mario and Rabbids, as we'll discuss further here. Sounds like just a solid team that they're going to be launching with.
Oh, absolutely. And as you brought up, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a mind tease to me. It's quite a coincidence that the last game I had fully completed was Sparks of Hope, and the current game I'm going through religiously is Red Dead Redemption 2. So honestly, a lot of the creative force behind this new team is it's really got my liking. Let me tell you, I'm very intrigued with this.
It is very, very intriguing to me as well. And like what Contamessa says here, kind of, we have this first paragraph just kind of re-summarizing what was already said. But Contamessa says here, when I first fell in love with video games that started my career, I saw the power of this new medium to tell stories never told before and create worlds that could transform people. Day for Night is a return to that innovative spirit, to that innocence, to that unbridled creativity. And I'm just saying amen. I'm just saying amen to all of that. With just like the gaming that I grew up with, that was all we had. That was when the gaming was still like a growing thing and people were still figuring out how to do it with 3D gaming, or even with the like 2D gaming, back then, figuring out new styles and like brand new things. Like there was a lot of that unbridled creativity that we seem to have a little bit of a lack of in a lot of the industry today.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's where these indie companies really shine through. I think, of course, Nintendo, I have to give credit where credit is due. As far as like passionate, creative, not caring what the other guy is doing and sort of just innovating where you think you can innovate, is like Nintendo's right there with a lot of these companies. But like, I guess with Platonic, for instance, as you said, we've lost a lot of that in the industry, where it doesn't really matter so much about having a team of tens of thousands of people for like the highest graphic fidelity, but sometimes having a more down-to-earth, able to communicate in a more creative, smaller team fashion, like these indie companies and Platonic, showing that like the industry in these smaller teams can still make great games and have this passion really shine through. And I'm just excited as you are, man. I mean, those statements alone are like very, very optimistic statements in my opinion, and definitely fit our niche for what we like, I feel like, in games.
Definitely. Davide says further here, what we are crafting at Day for Night is a reflection of everything I've wanted to experience as a player. Joy, adventure, poetry, action, wonder, and the pleasure of working with friends. It's a lullaby for my soul and a serenade to our industry, to the magic and the madness of creating worlds from nothing. It's a story about triumphs, challenges, dreams to light the path we walk together. And man, it's just, again, more just like fire stuff. Really just fire stuff. And again, like looking at just what he's been able to do with the past, even with just like existing IPs and doing creative things with those that were just a lot of ways unexpected. Thinking of him starting with something completely from scratch, brand new, with like this new vision and his like philosophy of game design. Man, video games, the art of video games as itself is just, it's a medium. It's a medium for people to tell stories. It's a medium for people to create experiences. And that is what Davide and his new team wants to do here.
Oh, totally. And as you said, it's like, I mean, as he said, it's like, funny enough, like their statements alone are poetry and lullabies for my soul. Like hearing that is, like I said before, that's so encouraging. And yeah, man, games as themselves is definitely an art form and definitely a medium for relaying both, and as I think Greg Mayles had said before, both the personalities of the people that worked on it and the team, but also storytelling, getting messages across. Just I just, even in these statements, the passion purely shown in the statements alone is a very good sign, in my opinion.
It is an extremely good sign, even to me, like even just at this point. They mentioned also that they are joined by co-founders Cristina Nava, Gian Marco Zana, and Luca Breda. veteran producers and visionary developers responsible for major franchises including Mario and Rabbids, Just Dance, Ghost Recon, and Star Wars. So like a good number of industry veterans with that. I don't know what else to say about there. I think I'd have to look up where some of those other people specifically came from there.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll still get some more news. It's actually already incredible how many how many talented individuals with experience in the industry for so long are already on this team. I'm sure in future we'll probably get some other people. And as we said prior, I mean, it is definitely as well a good sign to hear that Mr. Kirkhope has been commenting and retweeting and quote tweeting, and obviously he has some involvement for sure to some capacity. And yeah, a lot to be excited about for that, man.
Oh yeah, I want to get to maybe Mr. Kirkhope like a little bit more later here. Yeah, but definitely we'll mention that a little bit more. I did want to mention though that the Krafton, the publisher of this game, they mentioned that they are really just like what they pitched to them. Maria Park here said that Day for Night's pitch presented a highly engaging and captivating story. Maria Park is the VP and head of the corporate development, says that the game's vision stands out as both original and creative, making it a great match for the type of studio we aim to support at Krafton. It aligns well with our mission to scale up the creative. When you see a lot of pitches like we do, it's always incredibly fun when you get to hear an idea that's completely new and original. This was easily the most creative thing we have seen in quite some time. It mentions a person that said fries, but I'm not quite sure who that is there. I think it's maybe from someone at a different part of the studio. I'm not sure. But man, it just, this sounds like could be a really good winner. Easily the most creative thing.
Yeah, that's super incredible to hear. And I can't help but wonder, because I mean, as we said before, it's fair to say that Rabbids, both games respectively, were quite creative in of themselves. Of course, using established IPs and what have you, and established gameplay, but I can't help but wonder what genre they'll tackle. And yeah, it's super, super cool to hear. But hearing other people advocate the creativity, man, just more and more confirmation and reassurance of this going in a good direction.
And to give a little bit more background about Krafton themselves, they've published some great stuff, including PUBG Studios, which is kind of like the before Fortnite. Basically, it was Fortnite before Fortnite. Striking Distance Studios, Unknown Worlds, Vector North, basically published for a bunch of those studios there. And One Up Ventures is also going to be helping out, I believe, with some of the funding. Yeah, it's helping with the funding as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all it as far as the opening statements. But overall, just from this alone, I'm excited to really see what they're going to do with this venture they're going to be doing here.
Oh, definitely. As am I. And I guess that probably transitions us into Mr. Kirkhope's involvement, perhaps.
Yes. And I'm just saying, Grant Kirkhope, of course, has been a part of both of Mr. Soliani's projects here so far, both with Mario and Rabbids and the Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. He was posting a whole bunch of stuff. Just mentioned stuff like big announcement from Davide Soliani. It's all happening. We're quoting this article. And he ends up just mainly just quoting a bunch of the things from the press release, and just kind of spreading that excitement. And from this alone, I mean, I think we can say that his involvement in whatever they're cooking up is practically certain here.
Yeah, I'd say both with the passion he seems to have behind it, and like you said, the sharing and quoting on certain statements and sharing links on Twitter and such, I feel like his involvement is almost inevitable.
It really is. And I'm just thinking about the fact that, again, just going back to the stuff he said earlier this year when he was I'm doing stuff that will hopefully pique your interest sometime this year. And of course he revealed stuff like the DK64 soundtrack, but I think maybe he probably he might even at that time heard some whisperings of what Soliani may be up to, and it was already thinking about what to do in the future of that. And man, again, this is exciting stuff. Me and Sam, we're just excited to go ahead and just talk about a little bit here today. Again, this is kind of our first venture we're doing with this thing that we want to call a Kooky Quest, where it's going to be both like discussion type topics, maybe discussions about like current news going on, maybe about a game that we've played, and we're pretty excited to try to bring some further content to you, and we want to try to do it fairly regularly as well.
Yeah, and as Drew said, like the Kooky Quest thing has been an idea in the pipeline for quite some time, but it allows us to have a much easier setup and a much more off-the-cuff sort of discussion. And yeah, we have a couple ideas still coming through, so stay tuned for some of that.
And I did want to let you guys know that we are going to have a future episode of Kooky Questions, a special Halloween one called Spooky Questions. We'll be asking you guys some like Halloween themed questions around gaming and such. So keep an eye out for those on Twitter. We'll get those posted out to you. And thank you guys also just so much for your support as well. If you enjoy this content, be sure to go ahead, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and you'll have an excellent and amazing day. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.